Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me in the back? Wonderful. Thank you so very much for being here this evening. But before we start, I want to start with a word of prayer. So I'm going to invite the Director of Trade, Ms. Okolo Patrick, to move us in the word of prayer.
Let us pray. O God, our Heavenly Father, whose glory filled the whole creation, and whose presence we find wherever we go, we thank you for life, for health, and for strength. We thank you for this meeting where we can discuss trade and investment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with the diaspora. We thank you for everyone who has taken the time to meet with us today. We pray for a productive and a fruitful meeting. We commit this meeting into your hands because we know that whatever we commit in your hands, you will establish. Lord, have your way and take full control in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Would you remain standing, please, for the national anthem? Thank you. Please be seated. Good evening once again. My name is Shauna Brown Jacobs, the Investment Facilitation Services Manager at Invest SVG by day, but tonight I'm going to be your mistress of ceremonies. I'd like to first of all acknowledge our Minister, Honorable Minister of Orlando Brewster, Minister of Housing, Informal Human Settlement, Youth and Sports. Permanent Secretary, Ms. Sandy Peters Phillips of Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. His Excellency Alan Alexander, Director of Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Mr. Glenn Beach, Executive Director of Invest SVG. Consul General Fitzgerald Huggins, here of Consulate in Toronto. Senior government officials, representatives of the Bank of SVG, a major sponsor of the Diaspora Outreach, President of the SVG Association of Toronto, executives of Toronto SVG Support Group, representatives of Carry On, Union Island Association, representatives of SVG Sports Club, specially invited guests, the Vincentian Diaspora, and persons tuning in. Pleasant good evening. And as we welcome you to this Diaspora Engagement Forum hosted by Invest SVG, right here in the city of Toronto, we are so excited that tonight we get to not only reconnect, re-engage, but reignite the ties between the diaspora community and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, I know that we're all eager and happy to be here and want to start things rolling, so I'm going to pass off to our Consul General, Mr. Fitzgerald Huggins, to start with our welcome remarks.
Good evening, everyone. Special good evening to, is it evening or afternoon? Evening, right? After 6 is okay, good. Special good afternoon, good evening to our minister, and welcome to Toronto. First time. I will adopt the protocol because of the length of it in the essence of time, but to welcome especially you, the persons who are here to listen to this wonderful program that we have in store for you, put on by Invest SVG. Home is where the heart is. I think this is an excellent initiative. What they will be doing is taking a lot of heat off my back, because you come to me with all the hard questions and I sometimes have to divert those questions to persons at home. So let's hope that they will solve most of your problems. Make it easier for us to do business in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You can bring your solutions, your issues, and I hope they adopt them. So I want to welcome the gentleman here at the head table, the people at the head table here, Kurt Allen, Consul General for Barbados. He's Vincentian as well. His father is Bonds Bonady, so he's one of us. So we have two Consul Generals in representing us here. We have Rue Williams at the table here, a big businessman, willing to do business as well in St. Vincent. And Sean Allen, Ron Kelius, and potential investors. We want to welcome you guys to our meeting. With that said, I know it's going to be a long evening. I don't want to take up much more of your time. I just want to welcome you all and have a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers tomorrow. Enjoy.
Thank you so very much, CG Huggins. I must say that I'm going to take a little tidbit from himself. He said that to take the heat off of him. But if I must say, I think we brought the heat with us, because today feels a little warmer outside, not so? So thanks to us, we brought that for you. Thank you so very much, CG. Moving our program right along, I want to bring your attention to a key agency that is responsible for maintaining the strong bonds between homeland St. Vincent and the Grenadines and you in the diaspora. He is the representative of the Regional Integration Diaspora Unit, and he'll speak to you about how we want to continue those ties and those bonds. So I'm going to turn to His Excellency, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you very much, Shanna. Pleasant good evening to all, Honorable Minister. Pleasant good evening to you. PS Sandy Peters, Consul General, Mr. Fitzgerald Huggins, Mr. Hans King, representative of the National Properties Limited, and Ms. Patricia John, who represented proudly the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Vincentian, friends of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a warm Vinci welcome to you. And as Shannon said, we actually brought the heat with us today. So we're happy for the weather, and I'm sure you guys are very happy for the weather as well. It is both honor and a profound pleasure to stand before you today as a proud Vincentian, deeply moved by the resilience and brilliance and the unity of our people here in Toronto. We're extremely happy that you've taken time out of your very busy Saturday to be here. I know that must have been a major commitment. And, you know, very importantly, very happy that you've seen it, that this venture, an important one, spearheaded by Invest SVG, where we come here to celebrate the invaluable contributions of our diaspora community here in Canada and especially in Toronto. You know, this evening I'm reminded that home, you know, home is not just a place on a map, but it's a spirit. And that spirit is alive and thriving in every Vincentian around the globe. You, the diaspora, our diaspora, you're not just part of the story of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but you are that story. You carry the values, the culture, the dreams, and our flags into boardrooms, into schools, into kitchens, community halls. You are ambassadors, often unsound, but you are always extremely vital. Today, we stand here to express our profound gratitude to you and to reaffirm the essential role that the diaspora plays. And I want you to hear this clearly. You do, in fact, matter. You are seen, you're heard, and your role in building the future of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not only valued, but it's indispensable. Many of you here have established successful businesses, attained professional excellence, and have built wealth in important sectors of our economy. By your investments in real estate, entrepreneurship, and local industries, you can create more jobs and stimulate St. Vincent and Grenadines economic activity in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are here today to encourage you, each and every one of you, to consider this: invest in home. And when I say invest in home, I mean not just emotionally, but also economically. There are many things to consider in terms of investment in St. Vincent, ripe with opportunities. We have investments in tourism, agriculture, the blue economy, the green economy, the creative arts, technology, and we could go on and on. St. Vincent is ripe right now for investment. And when the CEO of Invest SVG comes forward, he'll be outlining many opportunities that are available in St. Vincent. The team from St. Vincent and Grenadines, we are here to listen and assist in making these investments, making them easier, no matter how small they are. You know, I think sometimes people in St. Vincent and Grenadines, we do not realize the immense wealth of knowledge and expertise that reside in our diaspora. And it is when events like these occur, and I think that we must have them more often, but when they occur, that's where we can gather and share information face to face. Many of you are excelled in many fields, and by sharing with us your skills, your expertise, and your resources, you can help to lift our nation's standards in these sectors. We must all work together to find a way in which you can harness and transfer this knowledge back home and build capacity in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Whether we develop mentorship programs, educational scholarships, or professional partnerships, your involvement can make a lasting impact on St. Vincent and the Grenadines' developmental trajectory. As we look to the future, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has recognized the importance and invaluable role that our second generation Vincentians in the diaspora can play in the development of our blessed land. In September of 2023, amendments were made to the St Vincent and Grenadines Citizen Act, which allows for citizenship of second-generation Vincentians. And these are grandchildren born outside of the country whose parents may not have been born in St. Vincent, but their grandparents were. They represent a very important bridge between the past and the future, with the potential of contributing fresh ideas, more talent, and more skills. That bridge which connects them to a place where they may not live, but lives in them. You know, some might ask, why should my children need this? They were born here in Canada and they're doing great. But I say to you, identity is power. It is the right to say St. Vincent and the Grenadines is where my roots are. It shows that they are connected to more than just Toronto, something more, something not less. It allows for more and easy access to own and inherit property, more investment opportunities, and the ability to participate in national development programs. Something so powerful that it can secure your children's future, preserve their heritage, and build a stronger St. Vincent and Grenadines for generations to come. As the Director of Diaspora Affairs, one of my major roles through the consulate, embassies, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, whom I represent, is to work towards developing the connection between our diaspora and home. We are committed to fostering meaningful engagement, improving communication channels, and ensuring that your voices are heard. We urge you to stay involved, participate in national development programs, and help us to build a stronger and more resilient nation. This evening, I extend an invitation. More than an invitation, it's a call to order, or a call to action. Let us build together. Let us invest together. Let us grow together. Let us ensure that the next generation of Vincentians, whether born in Toronto or Kingstown, will know what it means to be a part of this global family, shaping the future filled with opportunities, progress, and pride for generations to come. I thank you again for your unwavering commitment, for your love of country, and the invaluable contributions you continue to make to St. Vincent and Grenadines. May we all stand united as one Vincentian family. I thank you, and God bless you all. Thanks.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Dare I say that His Excellency, Mr. Alexander, he managed to shrink the room. And by that, I mean, I think we all feel a little bit closer right now. I looked at everyone coming in, and there's definitely a spirit of camaraderie and home, because whether you've known each other or you're just seeing each other for the first time, it's so infectious to see, oh my gosh, are you from St. Vincent? We always do that when we go out and we recognize the accent, or we realize that, you know, you're from home. And this is exactly why we're here, because we definitely want to welcome you back home, because home is definitely where your hearts still reside. I am going to move our program along and state that there is no investment conversation that is going to be ever complete without looking at financing and financial support. Representing is our event sponsor, Ms. Patricia John from the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Good evening to everyone. Please allow me, in the interest of time, to adopt the established protocols and to just say that it's such a joy for the team of Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to be here today on this most memorable occasion, surrounded by so many proud Vincentians and friends of our beloved homeland. Let me take this opportunity first off to thank the amazing team at Invest SVG for arranging this much needed series of visits to our friends and family here in the diaspora. We had a really fantastic time in the UK a few weeks ago, where we were able to interact, connect, and in some instances, reconnect with our customers and meet potential customers. Being a part of that initiative really helped us to reinforce the reality that although distance and time may separate us, physically, the bonds that tie us to St. Vincent and the Grenadines remain unbreakable. So whether your journey would have brought you to Canada recently or decades ago, at the end of the day, no matter where life takes us, home really is where the heart is. And it's that unshakable connection that connects and grounds us, reminding us that we are part of something greater than ourselves, a shared heritage, a collective purpose, and a deeply connected future that we have the privilege of building together. While preparing the remarks, I was reflecting on a rich connection between Canada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, especially in the world of banking. Many of us are aware of the Canadian banks like RBC, Scotiabank, and up until recently, CIBC, FCIB, that played a significant role in shaping the financial landscape back home. Today, though, Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is proud to carry that torch forward. However, given our indigenous nature, this responsibility comes with its own intrinsic challenges, which we are continuously navigating with innovation and resilience. Our objective here today is not just to give you updates, but it's to inform you of all the information that you need so that you could explore the full range of services that are available using BOSVG's platform. So whether you're looking to build on an existing relationship with us or start a new journey, we believe that we have the right tools, resources, and people to support your goals, especially as it relates to investing in your beloved homeland. Before I forget, now let me just convey the warm greetings of our board of directors, our managing director, Mr. Derry Williams, the entire management staff of BOSVG. And along with these heartfelt greetings, I've been entrusted with 3 important messages to bring to you here in the diaspora. So bear with me. The first one is one of heartfelt appreciation because you here in the diaspora, you matter to our collective future. As an indigenous institution that is deeply committed to the progress of the Vincentian economy, BOSVG envisions a future that is not only vibrant and dynamic, but also sustainable. The government, along with corporate SVG, has made pivotal strides, and this time I'd leave it to the Honorable Minister to delve into all that the government has been doing in order to lay that foundation for the sustainable future. But corporate St. Vincent has also been doing its part. And here I can speak for BOSVG, because I can say that we are one of those organizations that are at the forefront of this progress. Over the years, we have worked very diligently to make banking more accessible through inclusive deposit accounts, helping many Vincentians who might have been considered unbankable in the past to be able to access financial services. We provide the largest share of residential mortgages in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, helping families to secure their future and to take ownership of their piece of our beautiful paradise. Our commitment to innovation has seen major upgrades to our digital platforms, making it easier and, of course, safer for you to do business remotely. And for you living in the diaspora as well, this includes being able to do seamless regional and international transactions by using our Visa branded cards and accessing the online banking platforms to do transactions such as EFTs, which are electronic funds transfers, and wire transfers. And for those of you that are looking to grow your wealth, we also have an investment unit that offers access to the Eastern Caribbean securities market, which provides opportunities for you to invest in shares, bonds, treasury bills, and as of 2024, we've introduced mutual funds as well, so you can look into that. BOSVG also plays a vital role in the financial ecosystem of St. Vincent and the Grenadines by providing access to an extensive ATM network for the credit unions, enabling them and their members to be able to conveniently conduct their business. Not only that, but we take pride in our robust corporate social responsibility program, which spans every sector in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and focuses on inclusivity as well as supporting vulnerable groups. Also, We are the employers of over 300 Vincentians. Each year, we are one of the largest employers of students graduating from college. So I'm sure you can see that BOSVG, at BOSVG, we're not just banking. We are building futures, we are strengthening communities, and empowering economic growth at home. So while the government and the corporate sector continue to do their part, the future that we are dreaming about is only possible with the passion and partnership of every Vincentian, whether they are living at home or in the diaspora. At BOSVG, we see your impact firsthand. And I'll let you know that before the acquisition of the books of CIBC, FCIB, and First St Vincent Bank, the diaspora would have accounted for just about 5% of our customer base. But now that figure has doubled to 12%. And you also account for 6% of our credit portfolio. And that 6% may sound quite small, but when you look at the size of the portfolio, it's pretty significant. So that underscores how critical you are to our operations. Your contributions go beyond transactions. They really reflect a deeply rooted love for your homeland and a powerful drive to see it flourish. So it's no exaggeration when I say that you are an essential pillar of our ecosystem. Your commitment to us and your engagement with us directly underpins the value that we are able to create for the entire nation. We are already seeing that remarkable transformation with an increase in the acquisition of residential and commercial properties, as well as the growth in small enterprises in the tourism industry. And much of this positive momentum is being driven by the vision, investment, and dedication of you, our brothers and sisters living in the diaspora. And for this, BOSVG expresses its heartfelt appreciation. So we thank you for that. The second message, shorter than the first, has to do with the fact that we have heard your outcry. Yes, we've heard your outcry about arriving in St. Vincent, maybe on vacation or to do business, and maybe not having all the documentation when you come to the bank. We've witnessed firsthand the frustrating back and forth to open or to update accounts, and we understand that there are challenges in navigating the process from aboard. So it is apparent that your needs are unique and that dealing with a general contact line isn't always helpful and efficient. As a matter of fact, it could be extremely frustrating. Yes, we know. And that's why we are in the process of creating a dedicated diaspora unit that would commence its operation in June 2025. Now, this team will be focused solely on supporting you for account opening needs, your credit needs, and everything else in between. While the requirements remain unchanged, because I know a lot of persons have some issues with the requirements, but they're not going to change, but the team will follow up with you to ensure that you have a smoother, more personalized experience. To give you a glimpse of what is to come, we brought along with us on this trip 2 key members of that team, Mrs. Shelly Ann Samuel, who is our customer relationship manager, as well as Mr. Calvin Peters, who is standing in for Mr. Craig Morris, who unfortunately couldn't be with us on this trip. They bring with them the expertise and also the empathy and the dedication that is needed to truly understand and to serve your needs. We know that managing your banking from abroad could be very challenging, but with this dedicated team, we're not just improving service, we're actually looking at building a trusted partnership with you that puts you first. My last message has to do with your love of your homeland. And we know that home is really where the heart is. So for many of us, after chasing our dreams and working hard to build our lives overseas, there comes a time when the heart starts to ache for home, right? You know that feeling, that gentle pull that you get to familiar shores, a desire maybe to own a sweet piece of SVG, and maybe one day come back to settle in the embracing warmth of the Caribbean. Traditionally, that dream would have been fulfilled through maybe a personal home or an apartment using one of our BOSVG standard mortgage or commercial lending options. And when you drive through certain communities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you can see the results of that. You see these beautiful homes with creative architecture and touches of influence from abroad. And when I say fancy, I mean really fancy homes. But for some persons, the dream goes beyond owning a beautiful and fancy home. Maybe it's not just about building a house, but building something that builds opportunity, something like maybe a condominium. So you'd be happy to know that with the revised Condominium Act, St. Vincent and the Grenadines now offers exciting investment possibilities for both residents and for you living in the diaspora. So you can build a condominium and instead of just renting a space, you can now sell units maybe to other returnees or to family members back home, while perhaps keeping one of the units for yourself so you can customize that. And when you come home on vacation, or maybe when you finally decide to pack up your bags and come home, that space would be available to you. So these properties could generate income, maybe even covering the cost of construction. So it's not just a wise financial move, but it's a way of building your legacy while contributing to a vibrant and thriving community back home. At BOSVG, we are here 100% to support that vision with our flexible credit products. And those products are very competitively priced. But soon, we will actually be having a new commercial mortgage option fashioned around this particular opportunity. In the meantime, our team that is here is ready to work along with you to bring your project to life, whether it is for personal use, investment purposes, or both. So if your heart is pulling you back home, don't fight it. Let's start that conversation today on how you can make it into a reality. The beauty about this particular initiative that is led by Invest SVG is that it doesn't just showcase those valuable opportunities to support the Vincentian economy, but it brings together all the key organizations needed to help turn your investment dreams into a reality. At BOSVG, we see the impact that you are already making, and we really celebrate that. But more importantly, we want you to know that you are not alone. We are here with you, ready to walk alongside you to support your vision so that we can all grow together. Our promise is to continue to build the right platforms, refine the right processes, and empower the right people, all to make your journey back home and your investment in its future as seamless and meaningful as possible. It is my firm belief that we're not just building an economy, we are igniting a future, creating opportunities, and leaving behind a legacy of pride for generations to come. So thank you. And we have a booth set up on the outside. So when we are finished, if you have any questions, emotional outbursts, anything that you need to say to BOSVG, we'll be on outside to accommodate those questions, okay? Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ms. John. Now, she said any emotional outbursts. I think that's why she came heavily armed with her other two persons to handle crowd. But definitely to say, I think our money's safe in Bank of SVG. And, you know, what Ms. John said about why we're here, it is to bring to you all of the relevant agencies that you would have to go through to make the process easier, whether it be opening a bank account, doing business with the bank, making an investment, buying property. As the evening goes on, you will hear a lot more in terms of what information we bring to you. You'd have had your bags when you registered. In there, we have a boarding pass to investment. You would have information in terms of how to start a business, information on what's available through Invest SVG, Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, SIPO, Center for Enterprise Development, a wealth of information for you to digest, but we are also here to help with that process. And just to state that we do hear, and Bank of SVG, they heard as well, which is why they are focused on their diaspora unit setting up. So definitely taking an ease off of doing business in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, being from the diaspora, you'd wonder, like, how to navigate. How does this happen for us? So we have a real life case. with us this evening. I'm going to invite Miss Tiffany Morris from a Diaspora Investment, actually thriving in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, from E-Scoot Rentals. As she makes her way up, give her a warm welcome. And while we await her story and we want to hear about that, I'll ask just some housekeeping. If you'd put your phones on either vibrate or silent. Thank you so kindly.
All right, thank you, Shanna. Can you guys hear me? All right. Hello, my name is Tiffany Morris, co-owner of eScoot Rentals.
Go ahead. You got it.
Okay, all right. I wasn't expecting to, be up here. So, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me now? Okay, hello, my name is Tiffany Morris. I'm the co-owner of eScoot Rentals. My family has a long history in St. Vincent from town to Trimaka, and I'm a first-generation Canadian. My partner, Curtis, who's here as well in the audience, and I own an electric scooter tour company. About a year ago, it was launched. After working with SVG through COVID. So everything was done remotely until we were able to travel back to the island. So we want to give a big thank you to Invest SVG for that. So our journey began when I brought my partner to St. Vincent for the first time, and he fell in love with the island. I'll hand over the mic to allow Kurt to provide a little more about our experience as part of the diaspora and what it's like launching a company in SVG.
I think I'll push this one back because I'm actually the talker. Awesome. So good evening, everybody. My name is Curtis Zephyrin. I'm a born Trinidadian, but now my second home is no, actually not my second. My home is St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Lots of familiar faces here tonight. So, I've been working with a lot of bodies of government. So, thank you for having us up here. So I just want to tell you guys about our experience. We own a company called eScoot Rentals. It is the first micromobility company in the Caribbean. We are the largest in the region. And we're proud to say our headquarters is in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we're actually kind of changing the way of, or innovating the way of transportation in the Caribbean, starting in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Why St. Vincent and the Grenadines? 12 years ago, as my partner said, was my first time there. And it reminded me of Trinidad way back in the day, before the oil and all the bacchanal and all kind of stuff. And I've always said there's so much potential in this country. I have a big skill set from Toronto. I worked heavily in the telecommunication industry. So I've always wanted to do something back in the Caribbean. Trinidad was one of them, but was not on my top of my list. I think we all know the reasons why. But St. Vincent was always an option. So my other half wanted to actually start a business, something to do with eco, and that's how eScoot Rentals was pretty much born. The second part is the most challenging part that we actually had. We did have a lot of roadblocks. So we were trying to actually get in contact with different bodies of government, such as the police, Ministry of Finance, all kind of different things, because our business has a lot of different platforms, from transportation on the road and all that kind of fun stuff, IoT systems and all that kind of technical stuff. But Tiffany's aunt was helping us throughout the way, and then she came to a roadblock, and then she introduced us to this famous person, aka the CEO of Fabulous, the CEO of Fabulous, Shanna Brown. And that's where everything started going smoothly. Shanna was actually a great help. Actually, we considered highly taking her away from Invest SVG because she did so awesome in getting us into the country, from concessions to lawyers to SIPO to everything, from meetings with the commissioner of police to the banking, everything. It was smooth. So when we came in, they set up all the meetings. We go have our meetings and get everything fun, and everything was done smoothly from there. So we just wanted to share that story with you. And we're so honored today to actually speak here because we are a true story of what happened. And we started through COVID, so it was a little bit more challenging. Invest SVG was there throughout the way. They're still there up till today. So, I do thank them greatly every single day for actually taking us through this process. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Tiffany and Curtis. Definitely an example of what happens when you come through the proper channels. When you want to come back home or you want to invest back home where your hearts are, it's definitely good if you follow the process. I mean, you can do it by yourself, but there may be a little hiccup here and you may have to come back and forth. But coming through the relevant agencies such as Invest SVG, we're definitely working along with other relevant agencies and bringing that information to you. So from Bank of SVG, National Properties, SIPO, Center for Enterprise Development, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Finance, I can go on, by the way. But to say that this is why we wanted to come to you. We do have our digital transformation project on stream. It's going to make things easier for you doing business back home and getting that information at the click of a button. But until then, we are committed to bringing to you the information that you need to make a very informed decision in coming back home. So thank you so very much for that example. Mr. Beach, you could have said that I was wonderful, just checking. So we're now going on to have remarks done by National Properties, Mr. Hans King, where he highlights real estate and land development opportunities that are available for you.
Thank you very much, Shanna. Protocol having been established, let me say good evening to all of you. It's really wonderful to see so many Vincentians gathered at this event today. As was said, my name is Hans King. I'm the manager of National Properties Limited. I'll just give you a little rundown of what National Properties Limited is. So basically, the government has a lot of land. Most of that would be known as Crown land. The government has a number of properties as well, including the Camden Park Industrial Estate. So what the government did is form a company where it vested these lands and building in, and National Properties is in charge of managing those buildings and selling some of those lands. Now, there are lots of opportunities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have just been listed as the third fastest growing tourism destination in the Caribbean. And I want to tell you, sometimes as Vincentians, I hear Vincentians complaining that there are not opportunities there for them. But I'm telling you, there are opportunities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for you. And I'll tell you about some of those. A lot of our lands are in Beckway. Beckway is famous for a lot of Airbnb, lots of villas. Most of those are owned by expats. Not many are owned by Vincentians. We are selling lands in Beckway, and I'm doing a little sales pitch here, $6.50 US, which is really not a lot. I'm sure most of you here could afford that. What I want to encourage you to do is the expats shouldn't be running all these villas when there are lands available for Vincentians to buy. All these lands that you're seeing here on your screen at Spring Beckway, Crown Heights, those are lands under the control of National Properties Limited, and they are available to you to buy. whether you want to build a home or, as the sales manager at BOSVG said, condos. That's something that you can build there as well. We also have lands for larger tourism development. So if you work with a company or you know some millionaires who want to build a hotel, we also have lands for that, not just in Beckwith, but at Mountwin as well, which we already have earmarked a Marriott. And you would have heard announced recently, I might be telling a little bit more than I should, but the announcement was made in terms of beaches, Sandals building a beaches. That is going to be on lands owned by national properties as well. And we do have more land at Mountwin for hotel development. So what I'm saying to you is don't wait. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is growing and growing fast. These lands are not going to be sitting there waiting forever. Visit the website at www.nplsvg.com. Look at the lands and see what you are interested in. As I said, the price is not bad at all, whether it be for residential, commercial, tourism development. And we're here to work along with you and help you. We will work along with Invest SVG for you to invest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The time is now. It's right. We are growing fast. So get on board. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. King. As you said, you know, about a couple of years ago, I think 2017, somebody would correct me if I'm going wrong here, we had the opening of our international airport. So the welcome mat has been put out. We have had a lot of interest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it's only going to get more as persons discover paradise, which is where we're from. Right? So the time is definitely now in terms of getting on board, whether it is that you want to own property for yourself, whether you're thinking about coming back home, and you really should, or if it is that you want to start that property, start, you know, making funds off of that property, doing some investments, but definitely take note that home is definitely where your hearts are and should be. I'm now going to turn to the Permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade to say her brief remarks and a very special presentation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shanna. The Honorable Minister of Housing, Sports and Youth Affairs, Honorable Orlando Brewster, the Executive Director of Invest SVG, Mr. Glenn Beach, members, a little louder? Is this better? All right, let's go. Okay, so I was saying, the Executive Director of Invest SVG, members of the delegation from St. Vincent in capital Kingstown, including our very own CG Huggins, members of the diaspora, specially invited guests, members of the media. Is it good night? It's very clear outside, but I would say good night. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this very important occasion. This event serves as a platform to renew or reaffirm our commitment to serving the Vincentian community abroad and strengthening our nation's economic ties. Acknowledging this important initiative coordinated by Invest SVG and recognizing the vital role of our diaspora, which they plays in our national development, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is pleased to announce that permission was granted to authorize the Consulate of St. Vincent and the Grenadines right here in Toronto to provide additional notarial services, notarizing documents for investment purposes. May I have a clap for that? Now, by facilitating notarial services, we aim to, one, streamline investment processes, as it is expected to reduce bureaucratic hurdles, enabling quicker and more efficient investment transaction. Two, enhance the trust and transparency We believe that direct interaction with our consular official fosters confidence in the investment process and ensuring that all legal formalities are appropriately handled. And 3, strengthen the diaspora engagement. By offering these services, it demonstrates that our commitment to supporting our diaspora and encouraging their active participation in national development. Furthermore, this initiative aims to bring essential services closer to our citizens and ensuring that they have access to the necessary documentation and the support as it relates to investments. Importantly, this program serves as a platform to engage our diaspora on the investment opportunities that contributes to our nation's growth, as we understand the importance of bringing this information to our nationals abroad. Moreover, through this program, we strive to strengthen the bonds between our government and the diaspora community to foster mutual growth and prosperity. Therefore, let me pause here, and I'm going to invite Mr. Huggins to receive this certificate as a symbol of our commitment. Mr. Huggins. Finally, another picture. Okay. All right. So finally, I take this opportunity to express sincere gratitude to all involved in organizing this event and to our citizens abroad for their continued contributions to our nation's development. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
I have to make an adjustment, 1 second. Not as tall as the PS. Thank you so very much, PS. And I'm not sure how you're feeling right now, but I'm feeling very excited with the news that PS just gave to us there in terms of creating a more enabling environment for you to do business and lowering the cost of doing said business. So now the consulate here is able to do signatories for you free of charge. Yes? Free of charge. I don't know if you got that. Did you get that in the back? Thank you so very much. Just another one of the initiatives that we have brought to you, letting you know that you matter. And we definitely want to make things easier for you to make that step to home. So now I'm going to, very favorite of mine, I'm now going to pass off to Mr. Glenn Beach, the Executive Director of Invest SVG, to speak to you about business and investment back in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Thank you very much, Shanna. Everybody can hear me? All right. Honorable Minister Brewster, Minister of Housing, PS, members of the head table, specially invited guests, members of the team that are here from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that includes Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, my team of Invest SVG, members of the media, people who are carrying us live this evening, but a special welcome to you, the diaspora of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. As His Excellency Alan Alexander said, we know it's the weekend. We know it can be challenging to find time for these things, but we thought it was very important that something like this take place. And before I go on any further, let me say this. This initiative is about you. It's about Vincentians. It's about what you have to give back to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but also what you have to do to develop your own businesses, to see what St. Vincent and the Grenadines has to offer you. I congratulate eScoot and thank them for their kind words. What a lovely story for us as Vincentians coming back home and opening a successful business. We've been here since Wednesday. Wednesday. And I must thank the CG and his team for the assistance they've given us in setting this up, but also for some of the business meetings we have had since we've been here thus far. It's been greatly appreciated. Now, the slogan is, home is where the heart is. Now, for me, saying that in Toronto is a bit of a, I'm not sure which way to go. You know, I'll kind of make a slight political joke now. I don't keep my Canadian passport in my front pocket. I keep it in the back, but I still have it. But home is where the heart is. And that's what it's basically, what this is about. This initiative came about because Invest SVG as an organization saw the need to do something more than just approaching, as I like to say, the big boys, the Sandals, you know, the Marriotts, those sort of things. We see investment as something just not for them, but more importantly, regionally and locally. In this day and age, not meaning to show my age here, but I remember some years ago, I'd say in the 70s and 80s, when those of you who were living in St Vincent and the Grenadines at that time will remember we had one TV station. We had one radio station, 705, and that was it. Yeah, we could go to Radio Antilles, but one local radio station. And in those days, we used to say, you know, if we as Vincentians had access to more information, how much better we would be as a society. We have access to more information, a lot more information now. But somehow a lot of the facts get lost in sensationalization, especially when it comes to social media. Now, this could have been done over Zoom or Facebook Live or Roam, any of those things. But if it's one thing that the pandemic has taught us, if we can put it that way, a positive out of it, is that online meetings don't always go as well. You get distracted. Somebody comes into your office. You start doing something else without listening to what's taking place. And human interaction is important. It's important for you to see us, to read our body language. And it's important for us to see you also. And to see that we are genuine about what we're here to tell you. And that we very much are. Shanna spoke about the coming on stream of Argyle International Airport. And I remember under the construction, I remember coming to Toronto, going to New York, looking to do research about how often would Vincentians come home if there were direct flights. Some said once a year, some said twice a year. Getting these direct flights has been a challenge, but they're here. And I remember the days when we were being told that there is no way an international airline would fly into St Vincent and the Grenadines. Air Canada was the very first to fly into Argyle International. And for that, we're grateful. But one of the things we always knew also, though, is that we know we have more Vincentians living outside of St Vincent and the Grenadines than inside St Vincent and the Grenadines. But we always knew that the Canadian diaspora had so much potential and so much spending power to do some great things back in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, coming along with the Argyle International Airport and what that has done for the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a modern port facility that will be opened by the end of August. And I don't believe we speak about it enough. We were so hung up on the airport that this kind of slipped through the cracks for some people. But I'm here to tell you how much that will change the way we do business. Because under the current port, we can take one ship at a time, and it had to be a specialized ship that had its own cranes. With this new modern port, we can take two big ships at a time. They don't have to have their own cranes. So it doesn't limit us to the types of ships that can come into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But on top of that, this modern port facility will be the most modern port facility in the Eastern Caribbean. That opens up. That opens up a tremendous amount of business for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, especially the potential to be a transshipment area for the Eastern Caribbean. You know, yesterday in some of the meetings, Huggins, sorry. I nearly said McIntosh. CG Huggins made the point to one or two of the businessmen. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is centrally located, 22 minutes from St. Lucia, 24 minutes from Barbados, 23 minutes from Grenada by plane. It puts us in the center of everything, 45 minutes from Trinidad. So if we build on the strength of where we are, geography-wise, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the perfect hub. And we've already had one or two companies approach us about being the hub for their businesses when the modern port is completed. Now, I use those two examples of Argyle International Airport and the modern port facility to show you the potential of what you have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the potential you have as Vincentians to invest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And when we say invest, a lot of times we're talking about businesses, and if you see that in your future, not a problem. But your homes. And I know a lot of people have moved to Canada, moved to the US, moved to England to make better lives for yourselves and make better lives for your families, your children, your grandchildren. Pastor Alexander spoke about the second generation of citizenship. Please do not take that lightly. I implore you not to take it lightly, because options are always a good thing. Years ago, I had to deliver a speech in New York, and this was before 9/11, funny enough. And it was an independent speech. I delivered the speech, and at the mingling afterwards, two women came up to me and they were like, "Yeah, Mr. Beach," and this was before second generation had come into play. "Yeah, Mr. Beach, we understand you, but we have American passports. What do we need a Vincentian passport for?" I remember the first thing I said a minute ago: options are always a good thing. And then I cracked a joke. I said, "Okay, you're on a plane. God forbid a terrorist hijacks the plane, and they ask you for your ID. Which passport you pulling out? You know, which one are you pulling out? The Vincentian passport." But on top of that, being a Vincentian opens up all of CARICOM to your children. They can work in any CARICOM country. We never know what's going to happen. So I go back to the initial point. Options are always a good thing for you and your family. Now, as we continue to develop, as SVG continues to develop, we're a very small country. Whoever gets into St. Vincent and the Grenadines first, they are the ones that are going to benefit greatly. You have a chance to be some of the first, to look for your niche. And my team at Invest SVG, we are here to guide you. We call ourselves the one-stop shop. We have the list of lawyers. We're not going to tell you which lawyer to choose, but we'll give you the list of lawyers. We'll help set up the meeting. SIPO to register your company. We'll help set that up. CED, which I like to consider the closest cousin to Invest SVG. Now, CED is an organization in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that I don't know how many of you have heard of it. Center for Enterprise Development. What this organization does, it helps you write your business plan. It guides you through the process. And I don't think a lot of Vincentians realize that that is there for them. And they will guide you, they will help you. And they perform, they have a lot of training that takes place for different parts of the business development. And so all of these things are there for you as Vincentian to take hold of, to learn from. You know, one of the things I spoke about earlier was that of homes. So much so that I know a lot of returnees come home. And I must apologize for customs not being here, because we know that's one of the big questions that always comes up. Well, if I'm returning home, what are the concessions? How long does it last? Why doesn't government give more concessions, which customs really can't answer? But we know you have a lot of questions about that. And we'll be able to help you at Invest SVG, guide you to those people within customs to get those answers. Just so you know, you have to be just some basic parts of it. You must have been living out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for at least 10 years to get 1 year of concessions to bring back home your things. Let me put another part to it. After you receive that 1 year, I sat in cabinet for, I think, 8 years. I have never seen cabinet extend it beyond a year. So until, if you're moving back home and you apply to the Ministry of Finance for that concession and you get the year, get your stuff in that year. They will not give you an extension. You can apply, and I don't sit in cabinet anymore, but that is my personal advice to you. Now, Shanna also spoke about digital transformation. In this day and age where everything is electronic, money transfers, MoneyGram, Western Union, Bank of St. Vincent, they do a lot of that. Also, we have a digital transformation project taking place, which will completely revolutionize the way government does business. And some of it is already there. You can go to the government website, the customs website, type in what it is you're looking to bring in, what it costs, and it will spit out exactly what the concessions are that you might get, and it will tell you how much you have to pay in terms of duty. But this digital transformation is not only on that part. In terms of purchasing land, all of that will be electronically done. No longer will there be the days where you have to send somebody to do searches that will take weeks and weeks and weeks. All of that will be digitalized. So all you have to do is punch that in. So I don't know if we have any lawyers listening online. There's no need to charge people that amount of money anymore to do the searches, right? But all of these things are there. Now, we have the minister to speak, and I definitely don't want to take up a lot of time because the question and answer period is always interesting, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions. But my team at Invest SVG is here to guide you through anything that you might look to do, any ideas that you might have. And more than anything, whatever you tell us stays with Invest SVG. What happens in Invest SVG stays in Invest SVG. And we pride ourselves on that privacy between ourselves and our clients. We have brought a remarkable team to Toronto here with us. Take advantage of the knowledge that you see at this head table and you see at the front desk and everywhere else. Ask the questions that you have to ask. No question, remember in school days, no question is a stupid question. We are here at your convenience to answer whatever you need to be answered. Before I step down, I want to thank especially the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for believing in this initiative and being the major sponsor of it. And I want to thank you for coming out, because without you here, it wouldn't be successful. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Beach. I just wanted to echo one small thing from Mr. Beach. He made mention of the fact that we could have done, sent a little message through the associations, through the consulate. We could have possibly done a Zoom call of some sort, maybe. But we thought it very important, and this is why we're here. So hoping that you recognize the importance that we came to you, that the time is now, and home is still where your hearts are. I'm now going to pass off to the Honorable Minister Orlando Brewster, Minister of Housing, Informal Human Settlement, Youth and Sports, to make the feature address. Minister, thank you.
Thank you, Shannon, Madam Chairperson. Allow me to acknowledge this evening, Permanent Secretary within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ms. Sandy Peters Phillips, our Consul General, Mr. Fitzgerald Huggins, our CEO of Invest SVG, Mr. Glenn Beach, who just spoke a while ago, Mr. Hans King, Director of National Properties, His Excellency Alan Alexander, Director of REDO within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, representative from the Bank of St Vincent and the Grenadines, Miss John, who's my good friend. I think we're meeting very often now. Also, allow me to acknowledge the various organizations here in Toronto with connection to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, specially invited guests, well-wishers, and my brothers and sisters from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I cannot forget the media. A pleasant evening to everyone. Now, that is not a Vincentian. When I say good evening, usually we have manners and respect and we say good evening. That was just to break the ice. First, I want to start off by wishing all of the mothers in advance a happy Mother's Day. I know my wife, she's probably listening online. My mom, everyone of the mothers who are present here today, a happy Mother's Day to you. That's Vincentian. I love that. Now, you know, it's usually said that it takes a man to build a house, but it takes a woman to make it a home. And I think the theme is fitting on the eve of Mother's Day, that we are here, and the slogan says, home is where the heart is. Allow me to introduce myself very briefly. I am Randy Brewster. I'm the minister with the responsibility for housing, informal human settlement, youth, and sports. I hail from a small fishing and farming community called Liu, and I know many of you will know that place. I have deep connection to North Leeward. I married a North Leeward woman. I see a couple folks here from North Leeward as well. And I am a Vincy boy at heart, a Vincy young man at heart, and I love St. Vincent and the Grenadines with all of my heart. Now, I can tell you this, in 2013, after doing studies in New York, I had a choice whether I should stay in New York or return home to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I made a decision, I think it was sometime in the month of March in 2013, that I am going to return to the land of my birth, the land of the blessed, the gem of the Antilles, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, don't get jealous, because I know many of you came to Canada, to Toronto, New York, UK, wherever it is, to help to elevate yourself and to lift your standard, to help your family. And I applaud each and every one of you for taking such a tremendous leap of faith, which were many. You were going into a country with so many unknowns,
but you took a leap of faith. And I'm happy that it paid off, because from the looks of all the wear, the dresses, and the suits, things are looking very well. Now, this is my first time in Toronto. This is my first time in Canada. And I must say, I was welcomed very warmly. And, you know, it wasn't scheduled for me to be here. The Honorable Minister of Finance, who has been doing the tours, he did the UK. He was supposed to be here in Toronto. And he called because there was an emergency that he had to attend to. And he says, Randy, you have to take this one for me. I said, well, you know, I wasn't planning to travel, you know, especially Mother's Day is coming up. I wanted to be home with the wife. But, you know, I took the opportunity and I said, well, I'm going to make my first trip to Canada. And it has been, thus far, a fruitful trip. I've been to the Toronto Parliament. I had the honor of being there. Thank you, Council General. And there's a woman from Beckway, very powerful woman. I don't think she's here today. It's Andrea Hazel. Met her, a wonderful woman. We're doing big things. And we have to celebrate our Vincentian people. We have to make sure that we lift them up and we elevate them, because we are brothers and sisters. We are from that little rock called St Vincent and the Grenadines. I also had the opportunity to visit Brampton, where we had a meeting with the deputy mayor there. Also went up to a place called Barrie. And today, I'm here. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. Did I? Yeah, getting the Toronto thing here. And today I'm here with you. And I'm very happy. I'm very delighted to be here to just speak to you briefly and update you as to what is happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I must say I'm the youngest elected minister of government. I'm the youngest elected member of parliament. I held the portfolio, which was once the biggest portfolio in the government. But after Hurricane Beryl, the Prime Minister in his wisdom saw it fit to split that portfolio so that I can concentrate solely on rebuilding lives and livelihoods and putting on roofs and rebuilding homes for people who were affected by Hurricane Beryl. Now, I know you're always keen to know what is happening in our neck of the woods, what is going on in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, as we speak right now in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have the official launch of Vincimas 2025. And this is a kickoff to our cultural festivities for the year 2025. And I'm so happy and proud of the young man who's at the helm, Mr. Rodney Small. Young man, young in age, but he's doing big things. And I love when young people rise to the occasion and help with the development of our country. So big up, Rodney, for the tremendous work that you're doing in the field of culture. Now, as you were privy to the information previously that last year, July 1st, we had one of the worst natural disasters that has ever hit our country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Hurricane Beryl. And damage sustained from Hurricane Beryl has a very hefty price tag. And I always say, if it's one thing about our people, we are a people of resilience. And it warmed my heart very much when persons from the diaspora
came together to help with the rebuilding and the recovery efforts. I want to thank our Consul General for being here on the ground in Canada and helping to spearhead some of the recovery efforts. But more so, it is our people, it is me, you, who made it all possible for us to be where we are today in terms of the recovery and the rebuilding efforts in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We had from that catastrophic event close to 6,000 homes that sustained some level of damage. And primarily the Grenadines, the southern Grenadines, took the brunt of that weather event. But I'm happy to report to you, as the Minister of Housing, that we are above 90% of all of the roofs are back on for those homes that required roof repairs in the southern Grenadines, and persons are moving in. We have bits and pieces of things such as electricity and plumbing, electrical installation and plumbing and so on to be done, windows and doors, and we have a contingent from Guyana who's on the ground, who is helping with that effort. And we have our local contractors and our local skillsmen and tradesmen also helping in that effort. And I want us to really show them our love and appreciation, because it took a lot of hard work to get to where we are today in terms of the rebuilding and the recovery effort from Hurricane Beryl. Also, agriculture was significantly affected by this natural disaster. And we are seeing now in St. Vincent a resurgence of our agriculture sector. And I must say this, it is important that when you try to store your eggs, as the old people will say, you do not put everything in one basket. And that is the importance of diversification in our agricultural sector. And we are diversifying, and agriculture is not only the produce that comes out of the ground, but it also includes fisheries. And we have more water area than land area in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the blue economy is moving forward. And that is going to be another big thing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In agriculture, we have provided thus far the income support and production supports to farmers. And also, we are working with our fisher folks to make sure that we help them in rebuilding their livelihoods. They always say in such an event, the poor, the vulnerable, and the marginalized are the most affected when we have such catastrophic events. And I would always say this, that our government, we are a caring government, and we have extended the olive branch to those who were affected, those who lost income by providing income support. And we even went further in rebuilding homes after the natural disaster. Many of these persons who we are rebuilding for, they would be handed their ownership and their title for such properties. And I know Ms. John might be vexed with me, at the cost of $0.00. We're making waves in tourism, and the CEO of Invest SVG mentioned that we are getting there because he spoke about Argyle International Airport, which is the game changer for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's no longer that we have to go to another country to get from from here in Canada to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or as our local people say, when you're coming from St. Vincent to Canada, you could come with a chichi cake, hot. So, and we are adding more flights. Later on this year, we'll be coming out of Atlanta with Delta, so we are getting more airlines. Daily flights, that is. So you can be anywhere in the world and you want to connect back home. We are opening up, the avenues for you to get to and from your home, your love, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in a timely manner. And it is important because not only for the occasional travel, but it is important for us to foster the developmental attitude as it relates to investments coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I know the word investments, when you hear investments, you think about the large chain hotels and, the big pharmaceutical companies and the big superstores like Walmart and so on. But I'm here to tell you that there are many small niche areas where there are numerous opportunities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I'll give you an example. When Sandals was in the process of construction, I spoke to a lot of my constituents and told them before they started, you need to prepare because there are going to be a lot of spill-offs. Some took my advice and they developed their properties. You know how we build in St. Vincent? You would have an upstairs and an unfinished downstairs. Some took the advice, they finished the downstairs, they put in a little AC and all that and made it into rental properties. And some didn't. And like Hans said, we're getting another bite of the pie again. Because very soon there will be Sandals beaches coming to St. Vincent. And I know many of the persons in the diaspora, they have homes back home that you can use as a mean of investing. You can use your capital. Come back home. See where you can fit in, where you can develop. We are building, for example, again in my constituency, a blackfish facility. Now, blackfish is something that a lot of persons in the diaspora, when they hear you're coming, they say, bring me some crips and bring me some blackfish. So there's a niche market there. And we have to lift our game. That facility is not to produce it as it used to be, but we have to up it. Now there are standards from the FDA. There are labelings that we would have to do. But all those are little areas where we can tap into. Now, it gives me great joy when I speak on the whole issue of where we are in terms of investment in housing, because I'm the Minister of Housing. So naturally, this is my area. You heard Mr. King from National Properties spoke about the availability of lands to be developed. We have a team here that is well put together. Invest SVG, National Properties, Foreign Affairs, Redo, and most importantly, the bank. And we're not asking you to come home with $1 million and say, this is what I want to do. Some may not be at the $1 million status. It may be a little lower than that. But if it's one thing I've learned over the years, is that there's no more comfort that you can get than being your own boss. Seeing your money roll into your account at the end of the month while you're over here. And housing is on an upward trajectory in St. Vincent. But you have to get in now. There are more room for development of Airbnbs, for guest houses, for boutique hotels. It doesn't have to be a grand thing, you know. Now we have eco-travelers. They just want to come and they want to go into the forested areas and they want to spend a week or 2 weeks there. We have one in South Leeward called Bush Bar. And that has been a trending, eco-friendly facility. But we need more. There is still room for more. So not every tourist that is coming to our shore will require sun and sand and sea. There are those like me who would like a little quiet time, away from the hustle and bustle. And in doing this, we are developing our housing stock. We're developing our room stock. We are creating employment. And we are, most of all, letting the world know that a beautiful place, a beautiful island called St. Vincent and the Grenadines exists. Now, I want to talk quickly because we've heard a lot of speeches and it doesn't make sense for me to be here for a long period. I know our Prime Minister, he speaks very long when he's a featured speaker, but I don't intend to do that. Let us talk tourism. St. Vincent is one of the islands that is developing very rapidly as it relates to tourism. We have some of the best sailing waters in the world. Even after the devastation of Hurricane Beryl, I visited the Tobago Keys Marine Park last weekend. The yachties, they're back. The travelers who comes to windsurf in the Grenadines, they're back. So we are getting back out there as it relates to tourism. And there are opportunities for you, our Vincentian diaspora, to help us to lift our tourism game in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. With development of a tourism sector, there's a need for nightlife, there's a need for activities, there's a need for restaurants and bars, and it doesn't have to be a grand thing. Very small, very unique. Create your own identity. Like e-scoots. And I can tell you that a lot of their business will come from persons coming off of the tourist ship and they want to scoot their way through Kingston. I can tell you in Central Leeward that there's an opportunity for persons to invest in ATVs, to have guided tours, whether it's to Nature Trail or whether it's to the Vermont Table Rock. It doesn't require a huge amount of investment.
But there are opportunities. Some travelers, they want to go by bicycle, but they want it to be in a structured manner. They want to know that they're safe. There are opportunities in these areas. And I can tell you this. I cannot find in my area a rental unit. You know why? Because they're all taken up. We have workers who are coming into St. Vincent and they're looking for places to stay. Workers under the tourism industry. Now, rental apartments, they're scarce. As the Minister of Housing now, I have to move from building individual homes to now building multi-family units. So when you're home, you will see in the near future a little taller building with 4 different patios, all built by the government for persons who are poor, persons who were affected by Hurricane Beryl. But that is where we're going. And it is not a huge sum of money to build these units. And we have to make sure that we are advancing with the world. Because now we can construct a home in 2 weeks. Modern technology, and we have to go with that. In 2 weeks, we can construct a home. Well, you might ask me how? Modular homes, prefabricated homes. And persons, when we introduced them in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we had a lot of persons, they ain't gonna last. They ain't good. I can tell you this. From the 27 that we built after the volcano, not one of them lost a nail during Hurricane Beryl. So they've been proven and they've been tested. And there are companies right here in Canada. There are companies in Trinidad that resell these modular homes. So if you don't want to build the traditional brick and mortar, invest in some of these small units that you can help with our housing stock and our room stock in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, a very touching area for me is the area of healthcare in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we all know the saying, your health is your wealth. And in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are currently building our referral hospital at Arnesville. And you cannot tell me no. There are persons here in the diaspora who may have retired, but they work in the field of healthcare. There are persons here who may be actively working now in the field of healthcare. Now, yes, our government has done well in sending a lot of our young people off to study medicine and any of the related fields. We've done well. But we need you from the diaspora as well. You have the knowledge, you have the skill set. Work with us, work with the Ministry of Health. Come back home. Do some clinics in the summer. Help us with building our geriatric sector. And that is a critical area in our country. I can tell you this. After the eruption of La Soufrière, that is when I saw firsthand that there is a ton of room for anyone interested in providing geriatric care in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Up here we call them what? PSW.
assisted living for the elderly in the US. And there's an avenue there because we have an aging population. And sooner or later, the majority, because young women, they're sometimes more driven now about, getting themselves together and getting a job and so on and so forth. And they put the 2.1 on the back burner. But there is an avenue for geriatric care. So we are open. We want you to come. Bring your skill set. Whether it's in healthcare, it's in tourism, it's in the construction field, in technology. Never underestimate yourself. You have something to offer your homeland. Now, we know that in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that there is a side of the island that is primarily on mainland, that is, driven by tourism. We know the Calico, the Villa area. Now it is our government's plan to expand on our tourism product. So the windward side, further up on the windward coast, and on the leeward coast. There are many of you, when you left St. Vincent years ago, Pembroke, when you drove to Pembroke, it was just pitch black. Come back to Pembroke now. You have a major hospital, a major supermarket, sorry. And that is a strip that is ripe for development in our country. We need more than one town. We need Kingston and we need another one. And once we do that, the banks will come, the restaurants will come. But like I said, the government alone will not be able to do all this work. And that is why we have a team here today in Toronto. I'm happy to meet with all of the investors over the past few days. But I'm even more happy when our Vincentian people invest back into their homeland. Now, the burning question that you may have is, why St. Vincent? And why now? And I want to list, as I close, there's a few reasons why you should consider St. Vincent for your next investment. Number one, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we offer stability, and there's also a high demand as it relates to real estate. Over the years, St. Vincent and the Grenadines can boast about our market stability and the high demands for our real estate product. And you might say, what about the other islands? Well, yes, compare all of the other countries. But St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are affordable and we give you the best bang for your buck. Why St. Vincent? We operate under a transparent and a business-friendly regulatory framework. It just simply means that when you come to do business with us, we're very open, we're very honest about your business. We have a keen interest in that business striving. And if you don't believe me, just recently it was announced that St. Vincent and the Grenadines was ranked third as the least corrupt countries in the Caribbean. The only two that is above us, Barbados and Bahamas. That's it. And St. Vincent is third as it relates to the least amount of corruption. So come to us, open, transparent about the way we do business. Also, we are fast growing, and I don't have to tell you that. The CEO of Invest SVG mentioned that. And it was just announced recently that we are among the 3 fastest growing travel hotspots in the Caribbean. These are great accomplishments for our nation. And finally, we offer you sustainability and an excellent outlook. And I will give you the facts. For 2022, in terms of our economic growth, and I know you want to put your money into a bank that gives you interest, where you want your money to grow. So if you're looking for a country where you want your business to thrive, your business to grow, listen to the facts. In 2022, we had economic growth of 5.5%. Positive growth, that is. 2023, 6.2%. 2024, 4.5%. And in the year 2025, we are projected for economic growth 4.9%. The only country in the Caribbean that rank higher than us in terms of economic growth is Guyana. And you know what that means. They find there, they got the oil. We don't have oil, but we have learned over the years, our government, to diversify what we do. We believe in the philosophy that you don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And if what you do with your left hand doesn't work, do something with your right. That's our philosophy. And that is why over the years, we have had steady and sustainable growth. And added to this, we have had steady and sustainable leadership. And I want to thank you for listening to me this afternoon. And I am looking forward to your questions. I'm looking forward to your comments, your feedback. And we will try our best, the team that is here, to answer to the best of our ability. We are not a perfect country, but we are a country that prides ourselves on love, care, and making sure that we do good for our people and by our people. God bless you, and thank you.
Thank you so very much, Minister Brewster. I just wanted to say, I mean, we've come to the close, but just a few key points I wanted to bring to the forefront for you. You know, sometimes when people speak about investment, you think about a foreign investor. Just wanted to reiterate and put your minds at ease and at rest that Invest SVG and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we don't just look at our foreign investors in terms of building our country, but we are here for the local investment and the diaspora investment just as well. So our doors are open to you, and it is for you to be welcomed home. I also wanted to mention, you know, Minister spoke about the fact that they're doing the Blackfish facility. Well, unfortunately, we did not bring any blackfish for you, but We did bring a little taste of home, bring a little nostalgia for your good selves. If you haven't looked in your bags as yet, we brought a little sugar cake, a little tambourine ball, a little fudge, a little something to let you have a taste of home. And when we're finished, and you'll hear a little bit more about that, we do have some VR headsets for you to actually have a feel of home before you go as well. We're now going to open up the floor because I know that we've had a lot of discussion here amongst ourselves. We've spoken a lot of the opportunities that we're bringing to you. I'm loving that I heard the hustle and bustle when I said there's some taste of home in the bags. But we are going to open up the floor for some questions before we get into some networking and refreshments here this afternoon. The Q&A is actually to my left here, set up on the table to my left. This wonderful gentleman is actually standing in front of it. Wanted to make sure that we can still capture you on our live stream. So don't rush, take your time. But the floor is now open for questions for our panel before we move into refreshments and networking, because we want to speak with you, we want to hear from you, and we want to reconnect with you. Well, I see nobody rushing. Am I to believe that we were very on point with, okay, Mr. Garraway, it's going to be our first Q&A. While we're setting up the Q&A, I just wanted to bring your attention to another aspect of home is where the heart is. And this is from the Ministry of Health, calling all Vincentians in the diaspora for your skills, your time, and investment can make a lasting impact right at home. Whether you're a nurse, medical doctor, health educator, neurologist, cardiologist, health program manager, or a pharmacist, your decision to give back, it definitely matters back home. So whether you want to volunteer, invest, or help us build a healthier, stronger nation, one heartbeat at a time. We encourage persons within the healthcare sector to definitely contact the Ministry of Health. Email mohesvg@gmail.com and give back in a way that keeps our hearts beating. I think we have Mr. Garraway now. And I know this because I met him before we started. But when you do come for the Q&A, please introduce yourself and direct your question to the panel. Thank you.
So again, my name is Malcolm Garraway, hail from the highest village in the country of St Vincent and the Grenadines, Rose Hall, roots to Canavan, back way.
Here.
I have a question for one of my favorite institutions, but I was wondering if I should leave it for the emotional upheaval. So I will set that aside. If there's a chance to come back, I could raise it or do the upheaval. Concern I have as far as investment goes. But let me say further that I really appreciate the effort of Invest SVG to visit us with such a serious team to meet and discuss our concerns. I congratulate you for that. I want that registered. I have a question, issue of security when it comes to investment, which I like some comments on. I know I don't expect perfection, but some commitment to security. And I'm talking about two levels of security. Physical security, when you have a property, and we need some sort of assurance that will be some sort of improvement in the protection of properties, people's properties being broken into and emptied and so on. I'd like some comment on that. But there's another factor of legal security when it comes to tampering with people's documents and so on. Again, I'm talking because of stories that I've had from people and from my own experience of having to spend money to deal with false liens and tampering with deeds and that sort of thing. And it seems, therefore, I wish we had a lawyer at the panel to speak to this, because I think it is a very important matter. But I just like some comment on that, because I've had experiences where I have, from time to time, having to spend money, especially in the area of legal security. I welcome any comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. I'm trying to grasp fully the extent and the context of the question. I can't guarantee that somebody's property might not be broken into. I think the government can guarantee putting things in place to prevent that from taking place. And you're right about that. I do wish a lawyer was here to answer the second part of it in terms of I think you said documents. Right. And that's, yeah, and part of that is what I spoke to concerning digital transformation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Unfortunately, somebody from digital transformation is not at this Toronto meeting. Somebody will be at the New York one to go into more detail about that. But as I said before, the whole government service is being reorganized, being digitalized. Now, I can say within St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have some very talented individuals when it comes to cybersecurity. It is something that the government takes very, very seriously. As a matter of fact, from Invest SVG's point of view and side, we've just put things in place to make sure that we are not hacked again. I've had friends who have been hacked via WhatsApp and so on. We think and we believe that we are on the cutting edge of putting things in place that prevent that. But I can't say anything is 100% guaranteed. Minister spoke about the stabilization of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in terms of what we've done. Any crime is one too many, period. But I can assure you that if it hasn't been looked at, it is being looked at. The government is taking it into consideration and are putting the steps in place. I know Minister wants to continue to say something. Yeah.
Thank you. It was really a good question, because a lot of persons in the diaspora, they would have genuine concerns about their home and their property that is in St. Vincent while you're here. And like, it's like how some persons will go to university to study to get better. So are the criminal enterprises and the thieves. Because, and we all know that, I would not hide that. However, I must mention, apart from national security provided by the government, there are a number of private security firms that you can interact with and have an arrangement. There's Guardsman, there's Amalgamated, there are many, and they offer that service where you can have them. Because one night I was driving through an area and I saw a Guardsman person coming out of a gate that I know the person is overseas. So I inquired, and he said, well, we put in surveillance and we will do the monitoring, nightly monitoring. They would come and check on the premises for you. So there are avenues, there are opportunities where you can have an interaction with some of these private entities, and you can arrange with that. Because we all must see, with the amount of police men and women we have, we can't look at every house who has an owner who is in the diaspora and put a policeman in guard there. But I am sure that there are avenues that you can work out. And in terms of the legal security, because we are moving away from the paper system. And as you know, back in the day when you do a bird paper, they write it on. Now you go and you pick up a bird paper in a day. So we are transforming our digital footprint as it relates to our country. So when we are hoping that with the digital transformation project, when we digitalize a lot of these documents, that we would have less instances. I'm not going to say that it's going to be perfect, it would solve this entire thing, but we would have less instances of persons falsifying deeds and so on and so forth. And I know that's the reason why you would ask such a question. But with the near implementation of that project, we are hoping that we would see some of those red tapes and some of those issues that we are faced with as it relates to legal documents, those would be reduced.
No problem. Just to extend on something the minister said, it's funny. Earlier this year, I met with two companies. One is an international company, and another one is one owned by a Vincentian on property management that are looking to come into the Caribbean, and they want to start in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that is something that goes to, especially from the Vincentian-owned company, that has seen something that is needed in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and is looking to make that investment in there because it's an opportunity. And those are the sort of things we're speaking about. Our minister spoke about it. It doesn't have to be something big, but find your niche. Find your niche, because as a matter of fact, go back to, there is a shortage of apartments in St. Vincent and the Grenadines now. A serious shortage of apartments. The diaspora, when they come home, no longer want to stay with their family. Right? So there are things there to be done. There are investments to be made. And as I said, Invest SVG is the one-stop shop. Speak to us. There was a question online asking how can we guarantee profitability to an investment? I can't guarantee profitability to investment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We can make sure you're well prepared. And as Iskut said, when your investment is made and you open up, that's not the end of our role at Invest SVG. We work with you continuously to make sure you reach a certain level where you don't have to come to us anymore, that you're well established.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Beach, Minister. To Mr. Gawe, I'm hoping that at least eases you a bit. It offers an avenue for investment opportunity for someone in the diaspora. Yes?
I'm pleased with the, yes.
Thank you so very much.
Just wanted an assurance that there's something to bring this to the forefront.
Yes.
More, that's all.
Thank you so very much. I'm liking the lineup over here. Good evening.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
My name is Hassan Pereira, and I have two sectors I'm looking at. I was born in St. Vincent, but I came to Canada when I was quite young. As a youngster, I've been here for over 50 years now. There's two sectors I want to approach, and who's going to answer these questions? Number one is that nobody ever spoke about financial education. Because in every country, as you know, the biggest problems that human beings have is either how to manage money, how to manage relationships. Now, I'm going to leave the relationship with the pastor of your church, but I've been in the financial sector now for over 20-something years. And I think financial education in any country is of utmost importance, that we can help educate the young people that can be better prepared in life to achieve what they want to achieve. So I'd like somebody to address that. Number two, being in the financial sector, I manage millions and millions of dollars for foreign investors. And I'm looking for opportunities for them to invest money in the Caribbean in particular. So that's something I like to be able to maybe have a conversation with somebody privately at some point in Toronto. Okay.
So as I wait for Ms. John to speak about that finance question, I definitely want to say we're going to be here throughout this evening in terms of Invest SVG, offering the different opportunities in various sectors that you can bring to the table and have that discussion with. Ms. John.
Okay, so I'm glad that you brought that up about financial education. I know recently the central bank did some studies. Right, I know recently the central bank did some studies in the OECS, and one of the things that came out of the studies that in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in terms of financial education, we scored one of the lowest points. So since then, what Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has been doing is that we've organized a financial literacy program where we're going through all secondary schools at the 4th and 5th form level to teach persons in terms of financial literacy and financial education. We're also doing that program with teachers and with businesses. So there is a nationwide, throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a nationwide campaign that is currently underway to try to address that deficit.
Thank you so very much. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Hazel. I'm the Public Relations Officer for the association here in Toronto. I hail from Stony Ground with ancestral roots in Connery and Beckley. And my question is twofold. I'd like to know from the BOSVG regarding any foreclosures, do we have access to those to be able to take them over, whether residential or commercial, and invest in those if for people who, who cannot hold up their mortgage anymore and so forth. And the second question is, you talk about sustainability. How easy is it for us to invest in solar power, solar energy in St. Vincent?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to ask Bank of St. Vincent to deal with the mortgage, and then Mr. Beach will, our representative from Bank of St. Vincent, Ms. Shelley Ann Samuel.
Okay. So in relation to the foreclosure properties, we actually have a listing on our website that you can. Sorry, can you hear me now? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I was saying that we do have a listing. It's probably off. It's on. We do have a listing of our foreclosure properties listed on our website that you can check. And we do have our recoveries department that can assist you should you be interested in a property to take over. Okay, so I can give you the details in terms of contact persons after that.
What you basically said is that Bank of St. Vincent does have a list. I know you'll find it of those sort of properties, and you can speak to her afterwards if you have. Am I right? The website is? So on the website, the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines website, you have that. In terms of solar power, of course, it's one of the things that the government has been pushing for the longest while, even in terms of in vehicles, electric cars as such, in terms of solar power, as you know, with water, ACs, those sort of things, and there are concessions available for all those sort of things. So it's one of the initiatives or policies that the government has been pushing for the longest while. As a matter of fact, they encourage it fully.
I think there's a little bit of misinformation going around saying that the government really doesn't want to get involved in solar power because VINLEC doesn't want to get shortchanged.
No,
so
there's
I think that needs to be cleared up.
And that's one of the reasons we're here, and that's why I spoke about social media and that sort of thing. Even if you go to VINLEC's website, they're very clear in terms of what it is. Now, there is some policy from VINLEC in terms of batteries with solar power and so on. But if you're using solar, you apply to VINLEC, they will approve it. At times, you can even sell electricity back to VINLEC, excess electricity. So let me say this. If there's a misconception that the government does not push alternative energy as such, it is something that is totally false. And there's an energy unit within the government in Bottomtown right next to the Methodist Church. And you can gather any information from them quite easily.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elmer Gabriel Mears. Hail from Stubbs, the oldest village in St. Vincent. Something excited me this evening when I heard that consulate staff have been empowered to work with the investment program, where us in the diaspora can go to the consulate and work with the consulate staff. I hope that's the way I'm understanding it. So that's a plus. However, a lot of us came here this evening because we love St. Vincent, and we want to invest in St. Vincent. Some of us have inheritance property that we would like to do something with. But to be honest, there is this doubt and this question about our returns, the trusting. How would our returns be managed? Because yes, like you hear all these nightmares about, you know, your money and things like that. So what is important is that, yes, we all want to invest. I'm sure if I ask people to put up their hands here, people are going to just put up their hands and say, we want to invest. But the question is, we need to have trust. We need to believe in what we are investing, because no one invests unless they expect returns.
Thank you so very much for that statement. I'm going to.
Thank you very much for that question. I believe it goes back to what I said. Some of what you just asked goes back to what I said in the previous question. I can't guarantee a return. Anybody who goes into business, their objective is to be profitable. There are many businesses that have failed. What we can guarantee is giving you the best chance to be profitable. And that's why I go back to Invest SVG and what we do and how we go about doing it. But I'm sorry, I can't stand up here and say, I guarantee a return. You can go into business here in Toronto and the business fails. And it has happened many times. But we do have the organizations in place. We do have the policy in place to make the best of what you have. I spoke about CED earlier in my speech, which will guide you through your business plan and everything like that. And we at Invest SVG will put you in touch with the right set of people. And as I said, even after your business has opened, our job is not finished. We'll give you the best chance possible to do well. Yeah. And as Minister said, when the business plan is presented, the government does offer concessions. And let me get into something, because somebody asked me this earlier when I went outside. There is a misconception that foreigners get more than Vincentians. And that's not true. Businesses have to make a point to the government when you make your presentation, when you forward your presentation to the government, how it benefits the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You cannot expect to get a concession, 100% concession, let us say. And the business plan does not show how it benefits, whether it's 10 people you're employing or something, that's a return for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or that benefits the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right? 10 years, as I spoke about earlier, are for Vincentians who have been living overseas for 10 years and are looking to return home. So those concessions are there. And depending individually, you can get concessions from the government. And we will help you to word that properly at Invest SVG. But the proposal has to be made. You cannot meet me or my staff or the minister on the street and say, I have this business idea, and expect concessions from that. It has to be properly done, written, and presented to us properly, just like the same way it's done in Toronto. No different. We're just smaller.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Beach, and we're definitely here building that trust. We're going to have two more questions because we definitely want to network with you while we enjoy a meal. So I'm just going to have two more questions here.
My name is Dennis Miller from St. Vincent. My question is about infrastructure, especially with water. I'm not hearing, I'm hearing that you're inviting a lot of investment, but I'm not hearing anything to do with infrastructure for water, because there will be a demand on water and electricity. And I think that's an issue I'm not hearing anything about. And I have one more question too. It's about Airbnb policies guiding how that operate. I'm not hearing anything about that, because we need to have policy. We can't just let everybody run Airbnb just the way it should be, right? There should be guidelines and policies.
Yeah. Shana's saying I should just stay up here. The infrastructure for electricity in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I can honestly tell you, is basically second to none in the Caribbean. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is unique in terms of electricity and water, as was previously asked, in terms of solar power and the concessions that are available for that. Now, you more specifically went to that of water. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the only country in the English-speaking Caribbean infrastructure second to none. Now, if you're asking about electricity going on underground, it's just too expensive for us, right? But in terms of providing electricity to all our people, second to none. Water, I think when government took office in 2001, I think water to citizens, I think, was at 8% of the population.
No, I was told, and you were not water, there was not enough water. Especially when you got water, that you don't have water. I've never seen that, and I'm just saying, because if you're going to bring tourists and bring people to your country, those are some of this stuff on your things. Because especially capacity, right? I was home, you don't have water. Those times water was the reservoir run dry. Because the house never run dry. Yes, it was low. And you never build anyone, there's no plan for anyone, any new infrastructure to fulfill that capacity.
All right. Thank you for the question. I will re-emphasize what Sabine said a while ago. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is one of the countries that has one of the most reliable source of water. With the exception of weather events such as volcanic eruptions, Hurricane Beryl, and during the volcanic eruption, we lost some of our infrastructure as it relates to water. Some of the catchments, they were damaged and so on. But since we have reconstructed those catchments, I can tell you the source of water in Lee, or the Big Gun water, I boast about it all. That is coming from a constant spring. That doesn't depend on rain. When we had the volcanic eruption, when most of the country was out of water from the other side, you had clean running water throughout that period. Now, there are periods when you will have CWSA cleaning their systems. And there may be times, but there's always a bulletin that's put out to say we are cleaning the system, so please be careful as to how you drink, because you might see the water might be a little bit discolored. But I can, and we have right now, presently in St. Vincent, in North Windward, we have found a new underground source of water that we are pumping right now. So added to our catchment system, very soon we're going to be having wells added to our, we have, for example, a major resort. When Sandals came to St. Vincent, they were concerned about the water supply. And we had to reassure them that we have clean running water that is constant.
Yes.
And it has been so. But like I said, there would be disruptions because you would have to clean the system, we would have to upgrade the infrastructure of the water system from time to time. With the exception of the Grenadines, and I have to correct, because Grenadines still use pumps. They do not have a catchment but on mainland St. Vincent, most of the water supply, you can turn on your tap and you can drink from that source. It is not, you don't have to get it in a bottle. But we have a good source of water and we have a constant supply. I'm not saying that there are not hiccups here and there for maintenance and so on and so forth. Because even here, there's maintenance. You have to maintain your lines and there are times that you would have disruptions. But other than that, you can turn on your tap any day, anywhere across the country and know that you have water coming through those taps. And I must thank CWSA for the magnificent work that they're doing and the recovery effort that they did after Hurricane Beryl and volcano.
Thank you very much, Minister, for that. We do have for one more question before we want to network with you.
Okay, good evening, and thank you, panel, for coming to Toronto. And I am, my husband and I started the ATV business you were speaking of earlier, Mayu Adventures. So we put our life savings, this is a true story, we put our life savings, we have 2 kids in university still, so we put our life savings into it. We started in, officially November was our first rider, November 2024. We have people that are booking to, I just booked yesterday somebody for February 2026.
Wow.
So, yeah. So we've had people from Scotland, England, Germany, Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Atlanta, all over the United States as well, Alabama, everywhere. So people that are coming to Sandals and people that are also coming in on the cruise ships. So there is growth definitely in St. Vincent. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. So I just wanted to let you know that. And the one thing, the only something that we'd like to partner with, and you can let us know if this is coming. But staffing wise, it would be great if there was a tourism program or tourism class at one of the universities or schools that we can get employees from or interns from that we can also help grow. So we can give back. Because currently we give back to the soccer team in Layou. We ship down equipment and shoes and everything else, soccer balls, because our sons played soccer. So, but we would like to give back educationally too, and also hire people that are in school that are about to graduate or want to graduate.
And she's my constituent, so I can speak to her. And I know the entity very well, and they're located in Layou, and it's a significant investment, I must say, because apart from the ATV, you do Airbnbs and rental as well. But you raised a very valid point, and I want Glenn to take note of this. And we have to get also involved the Ministry of Education as it relates, because when you have your customers and your clients, you're selling a product. And in order to sell that product, they must be very knowledgeable and versed about what they're selling. And there is room for exchange of knowledge, whether it's through education, through culture, through tourism, for us to have a unique package. And I keep saying this. I just want to for example, persons will come to an area in Bocamen Bay. And I'm throwing out ideas. I went to a place in Mexico called Agua Calientes. And I have a t-shirt. I really love that t-shirt. Really, really love that t-shirt. That is branded Agua Calientes, Mexico. I think it's time now for us to just move away from just a St. Vincent t-shirt, but making it a unique experience. Bocamen Bay, St. Vincent. Because there's a story about Bocamen Bay. There's something that you want to. So when your friends see you, where is that? It sparks question. But like you said, and I am going to make sure that we work very closely, because I want more business of your type to come on stream and find those unique areas where you can tap into. T-shirt printing, very simple, low cost, but it would tell a story. And when you travel to countries, you want a little token. You want something to remember that place you visited. So there are areas, and I want us to just, think outside the box for a little bit and come up with some unique shit. And by the way, I must say, they have been doing very well with their business. They've been doing really well. And this is a new startup. So if you need more experiences, or if you need some guidance, I'm sure, she'll be willing to share.
It's work. It is work, and you do have to do your research. But if you work with the team, we work with a lawyer locally as well. We work with the banking. We're almost complete with all of our banking. So it is work, but it's enjoyable work, and I know that it's going to be fruitful work.
Yes.
And we just have to put the sweat equity into it.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much for that. That was really nice, actually ending off today in terms of another success diaspora investment. So definitely an example that you too can be part of the process. We have had a wonderful evening together, and I want to pass off to our communications officer, Mr. Alejandro Tesorero, to do a closing before we start our networking and refreshment segment.
Thank you for that warm introduction, Shana. I'm actually happy to see that you are the one dealing with the questions and answers this time, because when we were in the UK, I was the one in the hot seat. All right, so good evening again, everyone. As Shana mentioned, my name is Alejandro Tesorero. and I am the Communications Officer right here at Invest SVG. As we bring our event to a close, I just want to take a moment to speak from the heart. Over the past few hours, we've shared ideas, memories, and aspirations. We've gathered here not just as potential investors and professionals, but as Vincentians, sons and daughters of the soil, unified by a love for our home, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Being here in Toronto, and fun fact, it's actually my first time in Toronto, among so many of you who carry your country with you every single day, in your accent, in your stories, in your music, in your cooking, and in your very being. It's been deeply moving, and your presence tonight is a reminder that no matter how far we travel, the heartbeat of our nation continues to echo in all of us, in all of you. At Invest SVG, we often speak in terms of investment and business development. But tonight, I want to speak of something just as vital, belonging. Because what you've shown us is that our diaspora is more than just a network. It's a family that still dreams big for our country, a family that wants to give back not out of obligation, but out of love. And let me tell you something, we feel it, we see you, we hear you, and we honor the sacrifices that you've made to be where you are today. Working hard, raising families, building communities, while still keeping a light on for back home. This session was not just about presenting what we at Invest SVG are doing. It was about listening. It was about building bridges across oceans. And it was about reminding you that you are an essential part of our country's future. Your ideas, your expertise, and your passions, they're all needed. Whether you're ready to invest in a new business, support a community initiative, or simply share your story, you matter. Our slogan at Invest SVG is strong, vibrant, growing. And these are not just words. This is a promise. But we cannot live out that promise alone. And judging by the warmth, the insight, and the energy in this room here tonight, I know that we are on the right path together. So, on behalf of our Executive Director, Mr. Glenn Beach, our team, and our beloved country, we thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for caring. And thank you for keeping the spirit of St. Vincent and the Grenadines alive, no matter where in the world you are. I would also like to give a special thanks to the Honorable Minister, Aranda Brewster, the Minister of Housing, Informal Human Settlement, Youth and Sports. Mrs. Sandy Peters Phillips, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mrs. Okolo John Patrick, the Director of Trade at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. His Excellency, Alan Alexander, Director of the Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit. Once again, Mr. Glenn Beach, Captain in the Corner, Executive Director of Invest SVG. Mr. Fitzgerald Huggins, the Consul General of SVG to Toronto, and his entire consulate staff as well. Mr. Hans King, the General Manager of National Properties Limited, and all the NPL staff as well. Senior government officials, representatives from the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, representatives from all Vincentian associations here in Canada. Yes, we've been getting your emails. specially invited guests, the entire Vincentian diaspora here tonight, and every single person tuning into our live stream. Let's continue the conversation, deepen the connection, and build a future that reflects the strength of our shared roots. Safe travels, and until we meet again, may your hearts remain full, and may you remember that St. Vincent and the Grenadines will always be your home, even when you are not at home. Thank you. Oh, sorry, by the way, I forgot to mention that we have the booths on the outside. We have a booth for Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the booth for Invest SVG. We have virtual reality tours of different places in St. Vincent. You can do the volcano. Yes, you can do the volcano. You can pretend like you're diving in the Grenadines. Just check the Invest SVG booth on the outside. Thank you. And there will also be refreshments and meals served to the back of the room. Thank you.